आपके पेरेंट्स नहीं चाहते थे कि आप आर्म फोर्सेस में जाएं।
बिल्कुल नहीं.
क्या हो रहा था उस टाइम पे?
Sent back a copper urn full of ashes. He was blasted by a mine. His whole body was into pieces. You will be a square peg in a round hole. You're not the army kind. These exact words. The core tenet of Hinduism is it is experiential spirituality. It's not the text. It is the realization. It is the God molecule.
The God knowledge.
The American CIA was suddenly very concerned. They experimented with psychedelics, they experimented with hypnosis. You can leave your body and travel. So what more is left to prove in terms of science and spirituality being the same? In the West today, biggest question is, what is consciousness?
जनरल बख्शी, आपकी लाइफ की कुछ ऐसी बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ें हैं जो लोगों को नहीं पता
जी.
और मुझे भी बाद में पता चली. I was pleasantly surprised. You have done a lot of research on Soma, on the Kundalini, on Vedic philosophy
That's right.
and spirituality,
Right.
also bordering on mysticism.
Right.
You have been to the remotest corners of the Himalayas.
That's right.
You have meditated there.
Right.
You have done a lot of interesting stuff there. Let me but first come to your personal life and how it began. You became the booming voice of India. But much before that, you were a book a day type of guy, as you mentioned it. आपके पेरेंट्स नहीं चाहते थे कि आप आर्म फोर्सेस में जाएं.
बिल्कुल नहीं.
क्या हो रहा था उस टाइम पे?
Look, you see, my father was the chief education officer of the J&K state forces. He served with the Maharaja of Kashmir, that is Maharaja Hari Singh, who had his state forces. And he was the chief education officer of the state forces of the Maharaja. Post-independent, these state forces were merged in the Indian Army as the regiment of the Jammu and Kashmir Rifles, right? So my elder brother joined that regiment, 11th Battalion, Jammu and Kashmir Rifles, and he was martyred at the age of 23 in the 1965 India-Pakistan war, right? Now, the simple fact is that my father was very keen that one of his boys follow the traditional family regiment and join the regiment, and that my elder brother had done. And I was always, a bookworm. I loved books, and even as a kid of 7, 8, he used to get me books and I would finish that book, a book a day. And then he was at a loss because we were staying in Udhampur and the nearest town really was Jammu, from where good books could be brought. So every time he went to Jammu, he came back with an armful of books and I would finish them and ask for more, That was my sole interest in life, Books. So he, seeing my interest in intellectual pursuits and academically also I was pretty good. So he was keen that my one boy should join the IFS or IAS, and he thought I was the guy, And then when my brother died, but without telling him secretly, I had been on a different trip altogether. I used to read a lot of Tibetan Buddhism. I'm very fascinated by Tibetan Buddhism. There used to be a guy called Lobsang Rampa. I wonder if you ever read his books. He, of course, he turned out to be a fake later, but he churned out some very good spiritual literature, fiction.
I see.
On the Tibetan lamas, on incarnate lamas, Tulku lamas who leave one body, come to the next and all that sort of. So
Yes.
I used to read those books. I used to read Commando comics and, World War I, World War II, and I was full of images of war. And then I had a strange streak.
Do you know why you are stuck in the same loop that you were stuck in 5 years ago? जो गलतियां हम तब करते थे वही गलतियां आज हो रही हैं, वही गलतियां 5 साल के बाद होंगी. The best advice that I have ever been imparted, जो किसी self help book ने मुझे नहीं दी, वो ये थी कि उस loop को पकड़ो. That is why we have created the loop test. We have given it for free to everybody. If you want to really improve, if you are feeling stuck, if you want to achieve your potential, the loop test is brutally honest. It will not sugarcoat anything. The link is in the description. Go ahead, take the loop test, find out where you're stuck, and then break it.
As a kid, I used to like just going off from civilization. There were hills behind my house. We used to stay on Narmada Road in Jabalpur when my father was transferred there from Jammu. And behind our house were hills where there were stone quarries, right? Katanga Hills they were called. And every evening I used to take a walk there and just sit by myself. I had that shaman urge for solitude, for peace, for quiet, for just sitting still and being myself and, trying to fumble around with meditation from the various books that I read. The Tibetan method is to watch your breathing and this and that. I mean, like that. But I had that streak of being quiet and by myself, love for solitude, love for nature, things like that. So I thought, how do I get there? Had I been born 200-300 years, I would have possibly joined the Ramakrishna mission or something, And, but then, in those days, if you did that, it was said ki bhagoda hai, he couldn't earn his bloody living, couldn't make this thing. So I said the best way is the army.
Oh,
I
so
thought
you
to
joined the
myself.
army to become a meditator.
So I said the army will pay me for going to the Himalayas.
True.
Yes. And it did.
It did. Yes.
And it did. So that was my amalgam which was cooking in my mind. I never said it to my dad. So when this thing happened of my brother, it came like a godsend to help me make up my mind. So, I mean, the guy who came with my ashes, he was blasted by a mine, M16 mine. His whole body was into pieces, you see, and so they cremated the body there so we won't see the bad state. And then they sent back a copper urn full of ashes. That was all left of my brother, handsome chap, cricketer, this, that. And, so when that boy who came with the ashes from the unit, of course he told my people different stories and all that, but I took him aside because I could make out you were not quite telling the truth. I said, you tell me what happened, you are hiding something. He said, don't tell your mom and dad because it will break their heart. But this is what happened. He was blasted and we had to collect his pieces from all over. We put them together and so naturally he said, you can't cry. You have to take revenge. I said, yes. My mind was fully made up. I may have had doubts, etc., but then my mind was crystal clear what I had to do. So September he died, December I gave the NDA exam. So my dad, you can imagine the furor in my house. एक बेटा मर गया है, दूसरा जा रहा है, हमने ठेका ले रखा है और परिवार मर गए हैं. They can't send people to die. It's only our khandan which is now slated to give one boy after another to the country and the rest of it. You see, everybody lies कि शहीद भगत सिंह नेबर के घर में पैदा हो, अपने घर में नहीं. So naturally there was a big outcry and all that. So then he called, my dad said, look, you are just because I know you why you are het up, you want to join to take revenge, but let me tell you, I know the army. You will be a square peg in a round hole. These are exact words. You're not the army kind.
Oh.
You keep reading books, you keep reading, you don't play games, you don't go this thing, you are so introverted, you are interested in Tibetan Buddhism, you are interested in Vedanta. These are not army traits. So he said, you won't fit in there. I know the army, I know the message, I know the level of intellectual talk. That's not, you will be a misfit. Don't go there. But then, I cried at him, like, you let me try. He said, you won't make it. I said, you let me try. If I don't make it, I don't make it. मेरा कम से कम हवस तो खत्म हो जाएगी ना कि मैंने try. He said, okay, gave it a thought. He said, okay, it will be a good dry run for your IAS, IFS exam. Interview होता है, ये होता है, वो होता है. So you give it a try, you won't make it. And as luck would have it, I gave the written exam. Then I went for my SSB to Mysore. And one fine day, I was sitting in the hills behind my house, and one of my friends came shouting, "Oi, Bakshi! Oi, GD! Oi, you made it! You made it!" So when I said, "What happened?" He said, "You are number 2 in the All India merit list." That was quite a thing because NDA exam, lakhs of people try for it.
Right, yeah.
And I was number 2 in that All India merit list. I said, "Are you sure?" So then he showed me, "ये देख, ये तेरा number है ना, ये." So I went and told Dad. Naturally, he was thrilled. वो सारे उसने photocopy किया उस paper का और मेरे ताए को, चाचे को, uncle को, auntie को, सबको भेजा. He was on cloud 9. But then came the question. Now I had to go.
Yeah.
So then he quailed a bit and all that. I mean, that's a different story. But I reached the mountains. I reached the mountains, and believe you me, it has been amazing journey. And that is why in this book, Beyond Fear, that is my autobiographical, my journey through the military and the mystic field.
Which is what I find very interesting. Even the cover.
Yeah.
The cover.
You see,
cover.
those are the Tibetan dancing lamas.
Yes,
And that is the Kundalini and the
there's a
double,
helicopter.
There is a
up
helicopter
there.
because I conducted so many heliborne operations in the counter-terrorists in J&K.
And then there is the Kundalini.
And there is the Kundalini and there is the double helix spiral of the
DNA. The DNA.
Which resembles the Kundalini.
Kundalini, it does.
Yeah. which is a metaphor for the Kundalini, in fact.
I glanced through it.
Yeah.
I saw references to DMT.
That's right.
Psychedelics.
Dimethyltryptamine.
Tryptophan.
Dimethyltryptamine, which is found in Ayahuasca plant of South America.
Right.
And look, there is a strange alchemy. It's not that it's something new that happened to me or I was one of the different people. In all traditions, in the Indian Sanatani tradition, they were Brahmakshatras. Warriors who knew the Shastras and who picked up the Shastras to fight tyranny.
Scholarly warriors.
Scholar warriors. That is the correct term. Scholar warriors, The samurai are supposed to be poet warriors. They are as skilled in the fine art of poetry and, painting and this as they are in the martial arts of kendo, swordsmanship, karate, jiu-jitsu, etc., they are scholar warriors. And in my family tradition, by the way, I have from my father's side sage Parshuram, the warrior sage, who was a terrible fighter with his farsa, his parshu, his axe. He slaughtered armies, So he was Parshuram. And for my mother's side, by the way, it is Dronacharya.
Interesting.
And you are sitting in Gurugram. This is the home, the village of Dronacharya.
True.
This is where he was.
This is very real.
Dronacharya. And it is a strange destiny that I loafed all around India, from Ladakh to Arunachal to Sikkim to, down south, Ooty, Staff College, etc., and now we are settled in Gurugram, my ancestral home, really.
Home. Yeah.
So we had this tradition. The Buddhist monks have a tradition of martial arts coupled with meditation. Shaolin.
Very interesting. But even more interesting what I find is, एक तो ये Soma वाला जो concept है. Concept क्या है? Soma is, for the benefit of the audience, I'll briefly explain and then...
See, if you pick up that book, you see the cover.
Yes, this is
Amanita
muscaria.
Excellent. I'm so glad very few people know this.
This is Amanita muscaria.
Amanita muscaria. The German botanist Gordon Wasson. He did a lot of research.
Yes.
And then he felt that this was the mythical Soma plant which is mentioned in the Vedas. In the Rig Veda, there is one full section of the Rig Veda, the 9th mandala, devoted to Soma, which has got all verses on Soma.
Yes.
Right? The Atharva Veda is called the Soma Veda.
क्या लिखा है सर उसमें सोमा के बारे में?
So, now, Soma is a very interesting concept. You see, initially, my understanding was that it is a psychotropic plant, and there was, in the Forest Research Institute of India, very few people know this. You're one of the first guys who has the background knowledge to ask this. You see,
इस चैनल पे एक वीडियो जो भी आप देखते हो takes a lot of time, lot of effort and lot of thinking. मैं बहुत ऑब्सेसिवली सोचता हूँ कि मैं किस गेस्ट से किस टाइप के सवाल पूछूं, बट ये तो सिर्फ मेरा रोल है. मेरे अलावा कैमरा, माइक, साउंड, गेस्ट आउटरीच, गेस्ट मैनेजमेंट, एवरीबडी इन्वॉल्व्ड इज लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू सीइंग द चैनल ग्रो. और चैनल ग्रोथ का सबसे ऑब्वियस और क्लियर मेट्रिक होता है सब्सक्राइबर बेस. इट रियली मैटर्स टू अस विद वन क्लिक ऑफ योर्स. It will be a show of strength, it will be a show of support, and therefore I would like to request you on behalf of the whole team to please do subscribe to the channel अगर आपको हमारा कोई भी content अच्छा लगता है.
There was a botanical scientist in the Forest Research Institute of India in Dehradun, right? And by the way, he had done a terrific amount of research on two mythical plants. One was the Soma plant, right? And the second one was the Kalpa Vriksha, the tree that lives for 5,000 years, for a kalpa, for an age. And he had traced that to the baobab African tree, which was brought by the Indus Valley traders to India. And it is then spread there. You find some of it in Mau, you find some in Allahabad and vague places all over India. The baobab tree.
These are iconic, symbolic, mythical
figures,
trees, yes.
You know, which hold the keys to whole reams of philosophy are linked to this. So Soma, you know, then he told me about this Gordon Wasson, you know, and I had met him in my guru's place in Maharashtra, in a forest in Maharashtra.
I see.
Where I used to go every year and spend 10, 15 days in that forest in deep silence. That was the method of my guru. Deep silence, meditation, heavy meditation. So that is where this man had come to meet my guru, and he showed him his research work. I was fascinated. And then I found he was staying in Dehradun. And a few months later, I got my posting as an instructor in the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun. Just by the way, etymology, Dehradun comes from the word Dera Dron.
Again,
Dronacharya had formed a camp to train the Kaurava and Pandava princes there.
Interesting.
Exact same spot where you have the Indian Military Academy.
Very interesting.
Look
Again, that marriage
synchronicity.
Yes.
The synchronicity.
Which is Jung's word.
Jung's word.
Yes.
Synchronicity is amazing.
Yes.
5,000 years later, the British had no clue that there was a guy called
they would not have had.
Dronacharya, etc., etc.
Right.
He had chosen the same spot for the same reasons that they had chosen it.
Right.
Climatically suitable, cool climate, fit for heavy physical training, meditative. Because they used to do both Shastra and Astra.
Yeah.
You know, Astra is the mind weapons that you use, you know. So that was at the same spot. And adjacent to the IMA is the Forest Research Institute.
It is.
Where Mr. Vaid used to say. And that old man, silver white hair, he was a very good photographer. He had done a series on the orchid plants of Sikkim. And they had been made into postage stamps. They were so good. And he used to keep writing on these orchids. He was an amazing man. You know, he was like a shaman. Calm, quiet, peaceful. And he would talk for hours on the Soma plant and all that. And then the linkages of Soma with the South American Indians. They also had the same Amanita muscaria plant. I'll sometimes show you the photographs. They are amazing.
I have read, sir, the Amanata, the muscaria. Amanata muscaria traces the idea of Santa Claus and Christmas in Christian mythology. He also
Nicholas.
seems to. Yes, Saint Nicholas.
Red and white.
Red and white.
Saint Nicholas.
Yes.
You see, and the Siberian shamans use it as a psychotropic plant, you know. And the South Americans, they have ayahuasca. Ayahuasca, they have the peyote buttons.
Yes.
They have there is another, the name
psilocybin.
Psilocybin, you know,
Yeah.
those kind of plants which they have. There's a whole pharmacopoeia of these plants which have very registered, recorded effects in altering states of consciousness.
Yes.
Right? So when he was discussing this with me and my guru incidentally was an engineer. He had been a manager. At the age of 27, he chucked everything to go to a deep forest in Maharashtra, build a grass roof hut, and in that forest meditate for 15 years. You don't get these kind of remarkable personalities. If you open the first page of my book, there you will find his photograph. Next one.
I think there he is. There he is.
There he is.
There is a very nice color photograph too.
Yes.
Swami
Pranavananda
Saraswati, an engineer and a sage par excellence.
You see, and an ecologist.
Very interesting.
I had learned the art of meditation from him, and the technique was so effective that I could go into meditation for 7 hours. You could put me in a funeral burning ghat. You could put me in a forest, in a battlefield, anywhere. I would lose, just indrawn, all sense of my surroundings, time and space. And I could go for hours and hours and hours and meditate. So when I was with my guru, I had a remarkable experience. We used to get up at 3 in the morning, take a bath, greet him, go and meditate for 3 hours, 4 hours. Then he would encourage you to take a walk through the forest. And then come, there was a glade of 7 chandan trees where he would have a bed mattress placed. He said, now out of sight, out of mind from the rest of the world, behind the canopy of trees, sit here the whole damn day. Soak in the chlorophyll. The plants give us peace. The trees give us tranquility. They are still, they are immovable form of life. And they convert the sunlight into chlorophyll. All food is made from that chlorophyll. They convert the sunshine to life. And we convert the life to consciousness of a more active kind, when we ingest the plants, right? So his method was that. That was the Vedic method. All Vedic ashrams were in the forests, dense forests, So one fine day when I was walking down after meditation, heavy meditation, I was walking down the forest. There were a dry nala bed, and on both sides were trees. So it formed a tunnel of vegetation. Can you imagine that tunnel?
Like a proper,
green.
A deep canopy of
Deep
sorts.
canopy all around, and there is a dry nala bed on which you are walking. There is a small little tinkling stream going the next. And then suddenly there was a tree laden with hundreds of white flowers, full of white flowers. And on every flower, at least about 5 to 10 honeybees. And they were, the whole tree was humming like a beehive. Oh. I just couldn't move forward. I just stopped. And then I suddenly felt as if in an aquarium, you see the bubbles. The bubbles start rising. Buck, 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 and then it becomes big and, there's a bubble you see on the surface and gone.
Yes.
Like an aquarium. I just felt like something in my fluid was rising up, And suddenly when it reached somewhere around here, I felt the most amazing ecstasy that I have ever experienced. Because of my habit of solitude, I have felt bliss. I felt peace. I felt bliss. I felt euphoria. Early mornings, evenings, in the deep quiet of the nature of the forest. But ecstasy, जिसको बोलते हैं ना आनंद.
Right.
When you talk of Sat Chidanand, Sat Chit Anand, an experience that never was more true. It was Chit, it was conscious. I didn't go into,
this was not a slumber.
Not a slumber.
It was not a intoxication.
It was, what is the word for it? What did they do? Anesthesia. In the Satchidanand experience, one experience is that the point of the eye loses all boundaries and expands into the whole consciousness.
Egolessness.
Egolessness and the whole Brahmand.
Right.
You are everywhere. I am Aham Brahmasmi. That expostulation comes from the experience of I am limitless.
Boundaries
I'm not
are
that one. There are no boundaries to my being. So I didn't feel that spatial expansion, but that ecstasy is. I have no words to describe it.
I see.
You see, I have no words. I tried like hell. And when I was having that experience, I said, oh my God, this is amazing. What do we look for in life and happiness? I haven't seen the extremity of happiness like this. So I clenched my fist, I closed my mouth in the hope that it wouldn't flow out of me. That's what I felt. And suddenly I felt like, a river of happiness. In Tibetan, they call it Kai Ling Chu. In Lhasa, the river that flows is called Kai Ling Chu. You see what a musical name. It tinkles and it sings. And it is a river of happiness.
So this was the point of your Kundalini
arousal
awakening.
kind of a thing. Or what is called peak experience in Abraham Maslow and all these people. Peak experience. But I could never get back to it. Matlab, I haven't been able to get back to it. It was one of a kind. And it was life transforming.
How long did it last?
Lasted about 10, 15 minutes at the most. And I didn't know what the hell was happening to me. I started taking deep breaths as if the very air had turned to some kind of a honey wine. And the more I breathed, the more intoxicated I felt, And I mean, it was amazing. So I ran to my guru's hut to ask him what the hell is happening to me. And it was shut. That means he was in meditation. I said, what to do? How do I keep it going? Because मुझे लगा कहीं चले ना जाए यार, So I said, let me record it. So I took out a pen and paper and my diary and that. And the more I tried to describe, I couldn't describe. More frustrated I felt, and dhire I felt, dhak, and gone. And with the third, I came back to everyday consciousness. I said, where is it gone? I was desperate. So my guru came out for lunch and we were having lunch. He was still up there. So with difficulty, and he never encouraged much talk. Like he just keep doing, don't yak. He used to say that. So I asked him, I had a very strange experience. So he looked up, what kind of an experience? I said, I just can't describe it. It was ecstasy, it was this, and all that. So he nodded his head. He said, now do you know how I have been staying in this forest for 15 years alone? I don't see the TV, I don't read the newspaper. And when guys like you come, I keep wishing that you would go away, because that is what I experience all the time. I said, but it went away. So he said, in the beginning it comes and it goes. I said, how do I make it permanent? He said, keep meditating. Simple. Anyway, that's going off into a different field altogether. So I decided I would meditate the whole night till this became permanent. So, I tried to, my guru used to tell me to meditate the whole night. 7 ghante kar raha hai, do it 12 hours. Change the waking, sleeping cycle. So he had told me the previous day I had tried to meditate in the hut, had a nice hearty meal. 12 o'clock I dozed off. So he came to check and he found me sleeping. So the next day he had a big laugh. There used to be small kids who used to serve him, the tribal boys. And he had a big laugh. Look at this Captain Saab. He goes to sleep on duty. Does he sleep on sentry duty then? And he made a big laugh out of it. So I felt very mortified. So the next day I went to the temple. The temple is well away from the ashram.
Yes.
And it's on a high platform. It's got about 50, 60 steps. And then there is this thing, and then there is a Garbha Griha where a lot of people have done meditation.
Actually.
Even the bloody stone is that lava ka stone hota hai na?
Yes.
But it has, like you sit there, you feel you are on a cushion. And you can meditate for hours in front of the Devi statue. So I said, I'm going to meditate there. That is where he had done his early meditation. So he shrugged, he said, go. So I went, I started doing meditation. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. Between 1 and 2, it's an old temple, 12th century AD. There was a bat, it came out and the wing struck me in the face. And with a start, I opened my damned eyes. And for some time, I didn't know what the hell had happened to me. So I rubbed my legs, I took a walk around that temple, and there were some brilliant statues there, and I was looking at them and admiring them, and suddenly I just felt like, let me go to the forest down, have a leak and come back and start again. And the whole forest, imagine, not a soul around for miles. And then you suddenly hear a frightened ape whoop, or some bloody peacock somewhere, kak, and then silent circadas.
Yes.
So I came down those steps. It was Amavasya. You take sannyas on such a night, Amavasya. You die to this life, you are reborn to the next. So I came down the steps. I couldn't see a damn. I was searching for my chappal, these rubber chappals.
Yes.
And I felt something cold. So I put my foot on it and it was a bloody snake. And tachak, it gave me on my arch of my foot. 2 fangs. I felt them going and I must have jumped 3-4 feet up in the bloody air here. And I landed with a thud by the time it had gone. And I look around, I couldn't see a damn. But what I could feel was 2 fangs that had gone in and a scalding bloody pain climbing up my leg like this. I said, ये हुआ क्या है यार? I went around to the temple. There was a 40-watt bulb in the Garbhagriha. And I looked at that. The whole bloody place around it turned blue. And there were 2 fang marks and little bit of blood was oozing out from one. And first word that flashed through my head was snake. Because I had seen cobras, including king cobras in that area. They keep gliding around. Generally do no harm, but
You step on one then.
you step on one, then it gives it back. So, snake. So I was shaken up, I was shaken up beyond anything. I said, I'm dying here. So I was 26 then. So I said, why go and wake up Swamiji and make a bloody nuisance of yourself? It won't help.
Uh-huh.
So I said, this is all over.
Uh-huh.
This is where it ends.
I see.
So it is written in the Shastras that you should go in this position.
Okay.
You get into the Siddhasan or Padmasan and you get out of here.
I see.
That is the textbook method of going.
Okay.
So I tried to sit.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't fold my bloody legs. My foot was swollen this big. This one is swollen. The swelling was coming up to the thigh. And the pain was creeping up like this, slowly, and all that, So I tried to meditate. What meditate, man? I could close my eyes and I'd feel I'm going into a deep, dark, bottomless well. And I would open my eyes again in fright. Let me see the light till as long as I can. That engulfing darkness, you see, that was frightening. I got shaken. Despite all my training, everything and all that. And as I was dying, then because so much blood had gone to my head, I didn't know whether I was alive or I was dead, man. So I pinched myself. Then I started looking at I had the watch. It had a black dial and a red dial for seconds. So it went around, tuck, 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 once, then twice. And I'm pinching myself. I couldn't feel it. Whether I'm dead or I'm still alive. I had no, it was that strange, a bloody feeling. Then when 4-5 minutes passed, suddenly one thought crossed me, yaar, I'm 26 and I'm dying. I wish I'd seen more of life. And I had come to ask my guru that my parents are pressing me for marriage. Should I? Will it be an obstacle in my meditation? Ye, wo. He said, don't ask me, ask the Devi. She'll give you an answer. Don't ask me. So I was sitting in front of the Devi and suddenly, I said, what? I'm dying. And the last thought that comes to me, I wish I had married and had a family and then gone. I wouldn't have felt so incomplete.
Right.
So I said, then you are coming right back, boy.
Yes.
There is, this is, and you see, this is a very familiar thing that most of my friends, we taken part in 71 war. We were 19, 20, 21. A lot of them got shot up.
Yeah.
And when they were dying, so we asked them, how did you feel before, when you
Near-death
thought you were going?
experiences.
Near-death experience, what was it? He said, the only thought I remember is, I'm so damn young, yaar.
Yeah.
Why am I dying now? I wish I had seen more of life.
Yeah.
And that same thought, I think, possibly came to me. I was then 26. And then that was like a revelation. So I tried to meditate. I couldn't. After an hour, I quietly came down. I said, yaar, maybe it's not a fully poisonous snake. Or it's not been able to inject the full poison. I've only gotten residual one on the fangs. Sometimes it happens if you jerk it off, So I said, then let me get it treated, yaar. Kuch to treatment hoga. So there were these tribal boys who used to stay with my guru, take care of him and all that. Daily needs. So I went and woke up that boy. I didn't have the courage to wake up my guru because I thought he would laugh at me. Yeah, bloody weakling. Can't stay in the forest. Or ek din ye ho gaya, dusra din wo ho gaya. So I didn't go to him after that fear. So I went and shook up this boy. मैंने कहा देख ओए उठ बे. तो देख हाँ सुदाम किसी चीज ने काट लिया है क्या है? I thought he would look at it. I had seen him throw a scorpion like that. तो उसने देखा ये तो सांप है. And before waiting for me, Baba, Captain Saab ko सांप ने काट लिया. So I mean that's another story. But then in what he told me that day was he gave me a mantra. And if I'm alive, I think it is because of that mantra, because I took no other medicine. You know. And he said, look, you came asking a question. Have you gotten your answer? You came asking whether, and you were almost going towards sannyas.
Yeah.
You were going to meditate all your bloody life to keep that experience on, right? But he says, now your destiny has spoken. You have to fulfill your prarabdha karma, you have to go back. And I was actually quite clear in my mind.
Yeah.
To hell with the army, to hell with this, they can't locate me here. So this is where I'm going to stay with my guru, and meditate all my life. So, cut short, and I had to come back to life. But now to get back, my guru then said, no, you investigate this. And that is when this man came. After this experience, next year, Ved.
Amanita Muskari.
Amanata Muskari. So I asked my guru, what is this? He said, no, I don't agree. He said, this is endogenous. It's not exogenous. Exogenous means I ingest something from outside and I get that hallucinogenic experience. He says, when you do meditation, the hypothalamus and the limbic system and the pineal gland are stirred. And because of that, they start secreting a chemical called, neurotransmitter called endorphins. Endorphin stands for endogenous morphine. The morphine secreted by the brain. It is a part of the species survival mechanism. When an organism is near death, it has to survive. It has to overcome its fear and pain.
Runner's high.
Runner's high is endorphin.
Yes.
Exactly. So this endorphin comes when you are at some extremity of pain also. Or you think that you are shutting off and dying. Right? And what is meditation? Fooling the brain into thinking that it is dying. Darkness all over aapne create kar li. ठीक है? And then the brain starts secreting the endorphins.
Right.
Which gives you ecstasy, which gives you a creative high.
Right.
What was the survival value of this? A caveman attacked by a saber-toothed tiger. What will be your first response? Flight, run. You can't outrun the damn tiger. No way. And on the back, with your back turned, you can't even fight. It will pounce you and eat you, you are gone. That is the time there. Endorphin gives you that kind of ecstasy, that calm, that this thing to face up to the tiger. So what do? You pick up the burning log of wood and you poke it in the face and it runs, Or you have that bloody spear or that stone flint and because with your bare hands you can't fight the damn tiger. But with that flint you can, So the courage to save your family comes from the endorphin. The survival mechanism is the endorphin. And it is the same mechanism which the sage uses for ecstasy, enhanced creativity, and, sir, it enhances the lifespan. The Rig Veda says the cows that were old became young again when they ate the Soma plant.
And is this the same thing that causes the soldier, or the warrior, to fight on the face
Fight
of
on
face,
the
face of
battlefield? You've heard of stories of a man's head being chopped off, तो हाथ में सर पकड़ के he is still fighting it on. That is how. It is because of the charge of endorphins. This is the last flicker of the flame. But it is powerful.
Yeah.
Extremely powerful, And because it is endogenous, it is not habit forming.
I see.
It doesn't get you into that, addiction.
Right.
Addiction. It is endogenous morphine.
Right.
And all meditation is based on this. This is the meditation that is good for the sage. The endorphin is good for the sage. It gives him ecstasy. It gives him creativity. It gives him mystical insight because of the allied chemical called dimethyltryptamine.
DMT.
Deep insights come from this. They have induced near-death experiences, heart attacks in rats. Mammal, chota mammal. Usme bhi there is a large squirting of endorphins and dimethyltryptamine. to help him cope with the death experience.
They say that DMT is a spirit molecule. It's your gateway to the spirit realm.
It is the God molecule.
The God molecule. Rick Strassman, I believe, is the scientist who has restarted research on DMT. He gave it to a whole bunch of people, like more than 100 people. He gave it to. Apparently, people have even met the goddess Ayahuasca.
Oh yes,
You can see beings and deities.
Yeah, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And you see, the simple fact is that there is a botanical equivalent of all chemicals that are within me. You see, आप walnut खाते हैं. Walnut is good for the brain. If you see the walnut, it looks like the cortex. So there are aconite plants which can give you a headache in the mountains. Red aconite flowers will give you a severe headache. Next to it is the antidote. It grows together, stereo pair. So the ancient shamans, the South American shamans could identify something like 130,000 species of plants. They could see the plant auras and the plants of power, like Amanita muscaria, like peyote, buttons, like psilocybin. They have massive auras. So they could detect and they could go to these plants. And apparently they could converse with these plants, And that is how they have the entire pharmacopoeia of modern medicine comes from plants, from Ayurveda. That is all the herbs, Tibetan medicines, etc. This is all the pharmacopoeia that you have. Your ancient rishis and shamans have inherited from the forest knowledge.
I've heard you can, once ingested, even communicate with the spirits of the deities, these beings.
And there are verses, Oh plant, we apologize for cutting you. Please forgive me. But I am doing it for the benefit of mankind, etc., etc. You placate the plant and you take its permission before you cut it, etc., etc.
Correct.
There are dialogues with plants. And
plants.
Jagdish Chandra Bose has told you, he's done experiments. Plants feel pain, plants feel emotion, they feel happy, they feel friendly. So they have a complete life of their own, which if you are sensitive enough, you can this thing. When we get dulled by too much TV and too much higher level, then we are not sensitive to these vibrations.
Yes.
Frequencies. Lower, ultra, not ultra, but it will be
lower.
Subtle. Infrared frequencies. Infrared frequencies, which are there.
Yeah.
So there is this whole linkage, fascinating linkage. Then I studied the South American shamans. And there is so much in common. And hidden in plain sight is the Amanita muscaria. Whenever you see a photo of the Buddha, on top of his head, there is an umbrella. You look closely, it's not an umbrella, it is a mushroom. It is a mushroom.
It's a psychedelic mushroom.
Psychedelic mushroom. And the Buddha did experiment with plants. Did experiment with them. So, my guru's take was that if you take exogenous, then there is addiction, and addiction can be bad. It can give you severe withdrawal symptoms. Opium is a killer taken outside, but when taken from within, endogenous, not exogenous but endogenous, then it is a miracle. It is the Soma.
Yeah, it's a Soma.
It is the Soma plant that enhanced your lifespan. There are records of Indian sages, the Sat Dirgha Jivis, Kripacharya, Ashwathama, who lived for hundreds of years. Parshuram lived in the time of the Ramayana. He was around in the time of the Mahabharata. You see? So, the entire Indian philosophy, you picked up the right book.
The history of Hinduism,
Right. You see, Hinduism, the core tenet of Hinduism is it is experiential spirituality. It is based on anubhav, anubhuti, darshan, stuti. It's not the text. I've read the Bible the 30th time over and, now I know everything.
No, it's not the text.
It's not the text. It is the realization. It is the experience.
You have to experience it.
I have to experience. I have experienced Soma, so I talk so much about it. Because for once, that one, 10-15 minutes experience was enough to alter a lifetime.
Peak experience.
Peak experience. Maslow's peak experience. you know, and which opened up whole new worlds. Whole new worlds. Then my father was very interested in the Vedas. He was an Arya Samaji. So he always told me, study the Vedas, everything is there. And now my next book that I am working on is on the Vedas, the mathematical language of the Vedas, which is the same as the mathematical language of the DNA. Now let me tell you something very startling. This is the first shloka of the Rig Veda.
I see.
Agnimile purohitam yagyasya deva ritvijam hotaram ratna dhatamam. Ag, a, ka, a, ga. A is the first sound you can make, and ka is the last sound you can make. You can't go deeper than that. Ag, stop.
Okay.
Ag, stop. ठीक है? Agnimile purohitam, from infinity to zero. From infinity to a point. You see? Is Agnimile purohitam.
Okay.
But there is a mathematics to the Vedas. That was called the Chanda Shastra. There are 3 parts of this, 3 steps. 3 पद हैं इस श्लोक में. 3 steps. Each step has 8 syllables. If you count, it is written below.
No.
Agni Mile Purohitam. There are 8 syllables.
8 syllables inside.
So 8, 8, 8. 3 8s are 24.
Yeah.
Now let me tell you something amazing. When you have the single fertilized egg cell, the single fertilized egg cell in the womb, right? So it is 1, then from 1 it becomes 2, from 2 it becomes,
yes, it becomes
1 cell, 2 cell, 4 cell, 8. 8 is a significant mathematical stage at which it becomes a full entity. And in 3 steps.
3 steps.
They are the 3 steps of Vishnu. They are the 3 padas of the first syllable of the Rig Veda. Right? In 3 steps you have reached a matured stage of 8, and from which life really begins into that stage. And then it keeps growing in cycles of 8. 8 threes are 24. At 24, it sticks to the wall of the mother's womb, sticks to the mouth of the womb, And then, of course, it is shown the whole progress. See how it becomes a ring structure, how it becomes a ring. And if you see it mathematically, it is unfolding in steps of 8. The first 6 stanzas of the Rig Veda are unfolding in steps of 8 to about 224. That is when the first organ zone appear. The Rig Veda mathematically is unfolding in exactly the same mathematical progression as the DNA unfolds as life in the human body. That is why the image of the Kundalini is the image of the DNA. That is the way it evolved, double helix spiral. That is the way it unfolds, that is the way it expands, that is the way it unfolds and grows into a fully mature human being. Yes. And when the human being is out of the womb, even then it follows the evolutionary stage.
Yes.
It first crawls on its belly, then it is on all fours like a mammal, then it becomes a biped. Entire evolution is compressed in a kind of a burst communication process. Millions of years of evolution is linked up with the unfolding, and it is mathematical. There is an entire Chanda Shastra in the Vedas which deals with the mathematics of the stanzas. Agni, the Gayatri meter is 8 syllable. Then there is Anushtup meter, then there is another meter. There are 3-4 meters, 11 steps, 8 steps, 9 steps and all that, and they have all their different mathematical cadence. Right? So Virahanka used the mathematics of the Veda to, come to what is an excellent, what shall we say, pleasing sound, But that pleasing sound had a tremendous mathematical amount of logic behind it. You see? a tremendous amount of mathematics. It was the unfolding of life itself.
They say the sound of Om also has mathematical resonance.
It is the sound of the cosmos.
The cosmos.
It is the vibration, basic background frequency of the cosmos.
Yes.
You see, and you can get to that. So all these sounds have a terrific amount of effect on the consciousness. There is the science of sound, which is the science of mantras. You see, so it's not just arbitrary.
Yes.
It has got a hell of a lot of science behind it. And the more one explores, the more one is amazed. And the amount of work that has been done in the West, by American universities, European universities, is simply amazing.
Yeah.
Now we have to put it together. And let me tell you something very much more interesting.
Yeah.
In the 1960s and in the 1970s, the American CIA was suddenly very concerned that the Russians are taking a lead in psychic sciences.
Yes. They experimented with psychedelics.
They experimented with psychedelics, they experimented with hypnosis,
Yes.
they experimented with autosuggestion, and a whole lot of other things they
Paranormal,
experimented,
stuff,
paranormal, and Uri Geller bending a spoon with
yes.
his mind,
Yes.
with his mind power, no touch, nothing, just focusing the mind power and bending the spoon. So they said, can we use it for mind control? So the CIA started investing.
They call it MK Ultra, if I'm right.
Stargate.
Stargate.
There is a program called Stargate, and Ultra was World War II when they were decoding the secret.
I see.
That is Ultra was decoding the codes of the Germans.
The Germans, I see.
But this one was called the Stargate project. So I'll explain to you what the Stargate project was. That they said we'd like to explore mind control, mind overpowering the mind, controlling the mind, directing the mind, using these powers, enhanced powers for espionage, for whatever purposes, but we should be better than the Russians. So they said India is the bloody place where they have a lot of this, so let's try out their method. So they explored hypnosis, they explored biofeedback, and they explored meditation as prescribed by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, because he had given a formalized format how to learn and practice meditation. Otherwise, there's a lot of mystical mumbo jumbo. He's cut that crap and he's made it a scientific, teachable method, repeatable experiment with your own consciousness, right? So they went for that method. And then they went for a method called binaural sounds.
Binaural beats, yes.
Binaural beats. They would have a headphone, a different frequency here and a different frequency here. And they were tried and tested frequencies for their effect on the human mind. They'd be doing a lot of research in radio waves, right? And with that, they had come out to these frequencies. And they found that when you put these different frequencies in each ear, and you close your eyes and you sat as if for meditation and you focused on that inwardly, it would set up what is called brain wave coherence. The right hemisphere, the left hemisphere, electrical brain waves would come in one phase. One phase. They would be coherent.
Right.
That means the peaks would match with the peaks and the lows with the lows, not opposite. Otherwise they cancel out. So they were in brain wave coherence. And it was called brain wave synchrony. And when the brain wave synchrony between the left and the right hemisphere was complete, there was a lift and the consciousness came out of the body. You had an OBE.
Out of body experience.
Out of body experience. You had an OBE. You see? And that, then they said, okay, OBE, you are out of your body, you can travel wherever you want at will. Right? So they said, we'll use it for espionage, psychic espionage. And then this project was called Stargate. They trained a number of people with this binaural sounds and all that. And then they trained them to go and, they first tested them out. They said, you are in America, go to Italy, Rome, so-and-so compartment, so-and-so room, so-and-so this room, there is a computer screen. What is on that computer screen? Padhiye. हमको आके बताइए
रिमोटली बैठे किसी को
रिमोटली बैठे उसको भेज दिस वाज कॉल्ड रिमोट व्यूइंग एक्सपेरिमेंट्स रिमोट व्यूइंग viewing from a distance. Your body is here, but you have gone to Murmansk in Soviet Russia, and you have seen the nuclear submarine being constructed, and you come back and you draw it for them. This is what it was like, and they used it, actually used it. Very recently, they have declassified reams and reams of this scientific investigations, millions of pages worth of it, and which shows you that you can do OBE at will. You can leave your body and travel. So what more is left to prove in terms of science and spirituality being the same? What my guru told me, that when you meditate, jab naad shuddhi ho jati hai, then there is something called pratik darshan. He said, one fine day I was meditating, my initial experiences were ecstasy, this, that, ye, wo. Then he said, ultimately one fine day when I was meditating, I suddenly found I was sitting face to face with myself.
Oh.
And I was so astonished, who is the real me, this or this? He said, and then he said that one fine day I was meditating and I was not well. There was some problem I was suffering with. And suddenly I found some astral beings coming. They said, "Aao hamare saath." And they took me into the forest and they took me to that tree. Iska phal khao, tum theek ho jaoge. And next morning, when he got up from his meditation, it was so vivid. So then what he did was, he actually went there and he found that tree, he found that fruit, he ate it and he was well. So in spiritual lore, there is a number of these OBE. It's one stage actually in your sadhana.
What they also call astral projections.
Astral projection. Astral projection is a stage. Even the Adi Shankaracharya did that. If you remember in this debate with Mandan Mishra, he was losing the debate. And the agreement was that if he lost the Shastrartha, he would become a monk and follow him, leave his wife. Mandan Mishra's wife was an equally great scholar. So when she found her husband losing, she started asking him questions which are, only a married man would know. Anatomy, this, that, ye, wo, if you are a Vedanti, you should know everything. There is no field of knowledge which should not be known to you. Answer by these questions. And if you can't answer, well, then you lose. So he said, "Madam, give me some time." He went, his Shishya took him somewhere. He said, "Take care of my body. I'm going out." He went out of his body. He found the king had just died. And he had a huge bloody harem, So he entered his body, resuscitated him, and through him experienced all that she had asked him about, questions about, came back and told her. It is there in your spiritual lore. In your
So he
traditional...
vicariously, not vicariously actually, but it's confusing, experienced sensual pleasures,
Yeah.
astrally projecting his consciousness
Into another body.
Into another body.
Experiencing it through that body, coming and
Answering questions.
recounting it here. See? So the fact of the matter is that there are a lot of these ancient arts to which there is a lot of science. We in the West today, the biggest question is, the hard problem of physics is, what is consciousness? How do I see the red in the red flower? The simple fact is that 10,000 years ago, in the Vedic period, the rishis had asked the same question. What is consciousness? What is alive in me? What makes me alive, sentient and different from insentient?
Right.
Are they really different? You see? And he said, if I am trying to understand what is consciousness, where is the best laboratory? I am conscious, so it is in me. I don't have to go outside searching for answers. I go deep within. That was the path they took, and it was experimental, repeatable experiments. They experimented with their consciousness, you see, and they came to pretty much the same conclusions that quantum mechanics has come to today. That is why in my book on Soma, the quantum book of Soma, I have cited the Schrodinger's wave equation.
Yes, there it is on the cover, in fact.
On the cover, in fact.
There it
You
is.
see? There
It's
it
for
is,
everybody to
because
see.
quantum mechanics and Vedanta are coming to absolutely the same conclusions. Quantum mechanics says there is no observation without an observer. Period.
Collapses the wave function.
So that means when I observe, when there is an observer who observes, it collapses the wave function. Schrodinger's wave function comes to zero, and that becomes your reality. Drishti se srishti. When I see, I create. So next question that will be asked is, how is it, if you are creating, I am creating, how is it that we are both seeing the same mountain, the same tree, the same road, the same town? It is because we are not seeing from the everyday level of the ego self. We are seeing from the deeper level of the transpersonal self. The point of consciousness, the hologram that is immortal. You know, I'm seeing from my quantum level. Therefore, what you see from the same quantum level, from the same Atman. The Atman, that is Paramatman. The relationship between the Atman and the Paramatman is hologrammic. You know, when I was a young captain, I was posted in Dehradun. So my kids, I was very interested in getting them onto this science and spirituality, both. So I heard that there was a DRDO lab, you know, who were working on holograms. So I had read so much on holograms and I was very keen to go and see.
There's
So
a
they
whole
said, come.
there's a whole theory, the holographic universe.
Of course there is. Yes. Barbara and Brennan, Hands of Light. If you've read that book, it's all about the hologrammic universe, right? So, and there is this these CIA experiments. They said, how does this astral projection work? What the hell is we? So they came to the hologrammic theory again. The whole universe is a hologram. You know. So I went to see that hologram, but it's very, very educative. So they had that, you know, that optical experiments that you do in physics lab, right? One lens here, one lens there, concave lens there, etc. And you keep moving it up and down, focal length or ye, wo, vagara. So they put a hologram on one of these rails. Hologram was like photograph kind of a thing. They had taken a hologram of a Khajuraho statue where a lady is writing to her lover. It's a very famous statue, very, you know, well endowed girl. She is there and all that. So he said, okay, we've taken this, right? So what he did was, then he turned it around slightly. And I saw the shoulder, we saw the shoulder. Turned it, we saw the back. Turned it, we saw the face and front. So he said, this has recorded the image from 360 degrees. Because unlike a photograph, which records only one facet.
Oh yes, 2 dimensions.
Two-dimensional facet. Here is 3 dimensions being recorded on a 2-dimensional plate. Hologram is 2-dimensional. Right. In recording 360, how you play with plastic putty. You have a statue. The child takes that putty, makes a roll, then puts it around and presses it. Opens, and that putty has recorded the statue 360 degrees. All around.
But it's still in 2D, yes.
You know, so, and this is how, when you have a hologram, you have a coherent beam of laser light. You split it into 2 via mirrors. One remains the original reference beam, the other hits the object, scattered and recorded on the photo plate along with the original beam. They both merge to produce a picture which when developed looks like a thumbprint. It has no relation with the object, right? It's like a thumbprint. But when you pass that laser light again through it, you know, with that coherent thing, the laser beam
sort of comes back again.
3D image of that bloody object. And you turn it around and you see all. The second beauty is he covered that image with cardboard. It still showed the whole image. He covered 3/4, still the whole image. He said, theoretically, every molecule of the hologram contains the whole image. So the Brahmand and the Pindand and the Brahmand. You know, the Atman within me is the Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. Because the relationship is hologrammic. It is a hologram which is here, which is all over, the same hologram all over.
So we are pixels.
We are holograms within a hologram. We are holograms within a hologram. That's why we had the three-dimensional solidity to one another. And in our world, that is it. So a lot of the insights of Vedanta, and there are 4 basic insights in Vedanta. Prajnanam Brahma. Consciousness is Brahman. The second one is Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. Then there is Prajnanam Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, Tat Tvam Asi, that thou art.
You are that.
Wo, you are that. That and you are the same thing. So there are 4th, I'm forgetting the 4th, it'll just come back to me. But all of these indicate the hologramic relationship between Atman and Brahman. The individual consciousness within my heart, the torus, that
The
emerges
mathematical
from within the heart,
yes.
right? And that is the cosmic consciousness. They are identical. All these insights come to our sages before anything like a laser is even dreamed of. 10,000 years from today. And 10,000 years later, with the help of quantum mechanics, you are validating the very same things. That means you, observer here, is vital to the observation. There is no objective universe out there without me in here. That is quantum mechanics. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, etc. They all are saying the same thing as the Vedic science. And the Vedic science was intuitive. It went directly to consciousness. And consciousness is where everything is.
Right.
All knowledge is structured in consciousness. Richo akshare parme vyoman. In that void of the blue space of cosmic consciousness, everything is structured. All knowledge is structured there. It knows how to unfold itself. The fertilized egg cell in the womb, the DNA cell knows how to unfold itself.
The programming is inside.
The programming is all inside. The programming is from consciousness, the fields of consciousness. Therefore, there are 2 views of reality. One is top down, the other is bottoms up. The bottoms up view is atoms become molecules, molecules becomes
Scientific materialism.
neurons become consciousness is a epiphenomena of a kind of a effervescence
Emergent.
of neurons. So that is it.
Right.
So the reality is rock bottom atoms, right? The opposite view is the quantum mechanical view. Is it a wave? Is it a particle? It is both. It is a wavicle. When I focus on the particle aspect, it becomes an atom. When I focus on the wave aspect, it becomes a wave. So you got the basic paradox there, right? So now the view of this one is that consciousness is the basic stuff of the cosmos. That becomes intelligence, buddhi. That becomes the manas, mind. That becomes prana, the energy field. That becomes the molecular body. Annamaya kosh, panchakosha. So there is so much science, and the beauty is they are both coming together. They're both coming together. Every day we are unfolding and understanding more and more of what our rishis told us through modern mathematical, quantum mechanical observations. You see, quantum mechanics and science and Vedic science are now almost coming to a perfect overlap. And that is what my entire work in life, my guru said I had to work on this. So I have been doing that. He said, now that you are out, you might as well read and, align the two.
And you've written also.
Yeah, I've done about 48th book is now coming out.
48th?
Book is coming out on Op Sindoor.
That is more books than people usually read in a lifetime. You've written more than that.
So I've written more than that. But then it has come that I enjoy doing it. It's not that anybody is forcing me to write. You know, writing, you don't choose writing. Writing chooses you.
Correct.
And now I find that self-expression through meditation, through the books, through this thing,
Right.
and now with dialogues like this,
Which are very precious.
which help in reaching it out to a mass of humanity.
Exactly, and you said something that was in my heart. So the name of the show, General Bakshi, is the Syllabus of Life.
Wow.
It's called the Syllabus of Life.
Yeah.
And it aims to teach what school and colleges do not teach or
Do not
cannot
teach. They miss out.
They miss it out. And
They
so,
miss it out.
if I was to ask you to sum it up, what is it in the syllabus of life, in the actual syllabus of life, that you would insert, that you have learned, that school or college never taught you, could never have taught you, that you would like to leave for the rest of the world?
What I have learnt is that consciousness is the ground state of the universe. And the experience of that consciousness translates into 3 Sanskrit words, Sat Chidanand. And going by the Indian method, ki only talk of what you've experienced. Anubhav, Anubhuti. My teacher had experienced a lot more than I had, but the basic Anubhuti was, which I have spent a lifetime trying to understand and translate into words, into science. You know, वो बोलते हैं ना कि dharma is that which is constant. But in every age, it has to be interpreted in the language of that age. And the language of this age is science, is quantum mechanics. Unless you reinterpret the traditional wisdom, knowledge systems in terms of modern science, it's only then that we have done our bit, you know, by our ancients, you know. So that is what I feel. And like I said, Schrodinger's wave equation and all of these mathematics, there is a mathematics of consciousness, you know, which is the same in the DNA, which is the same in the verses of the Veda. They are based upon the Fibonacci series.
Fibonacci sequence. Yeah.
You know,
The golden ratio.
And the Fibonacci series, by the way, was not invented by Fibonacci, the Italian. He called it the method Indorum, the method of the Indians. It had come from India. And here it was called the Virahanka series. That is part of the Chanda Shastra, which interprets the mathematics of the Veda. The 8-syllable language of the Vedas.
What we saw overlapping with the DNA.
We
sequence.
saw overlapping
And
with the DNA.
First shloka of the Rig Veda.
The first shloka of the Rig Veda. So, the Fibonacci series, that this third number is the sum of the previous 2,
Yes.
comes from the Vedas, right? The golden ratio.
Yeah.
Anything that is beautiful will be in the golden ratio.
ratio.
1.6 something, something, something.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And that is in the Fibonacci series. If you divide the first letter by the second letter by the first,
You get that
that is
ratio.
the golden ratio.
Right.
And anything that is beautiful is in the golden ratio, translated into curves.
Curves.
You know, the cauliflower seed,
Yes.
the sunflower seed,
Yes.
they're all in the golden ratio.
Even the shells of the crustaceans.
And the crustaceans are in the golden ratio, right? So the mathematics of life is the mathematics of the Veda, is the mathematics of consciousness. That is what I am now trying to work on. And I think a lot more people with a lot more scientific background than mine. You know, my basic background is military, you know, but it is the Brahma Kshatra background. I have seen shot up bodies, I've seen this. So I had that morbid fascination with where in the body. This is how the Kshatriyas came to yoga. Where in the body is life? What is gone? What has departed? In this dead body lying in front of me,
Right.
what has departed?
Exactly.
Nainam chandanti shastrani. Nainam dahati pavaka. The sword cannot cut it. The fire cannot burn it. The wind cannot fly it away. That is the Atman, the hologramic entity in my heart, which is the cosmic Brahman. They are both the same. The individual and the cosmic are one. Their relationship is hologramic. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. It does not die with the death of the body. That is the Gita.
The Gita.
You know. So, and the last thing in the Gita is yoga karmanyesu kaushalam. Yoga is skill in action. whatever field you want, I will reach the ultimate of perfection.
Perfection.
So, in this yoga of life, we hope we will one day be able to express in the modern scientific language the language of our rishis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, General Bakshi, for that conversation, which I can't really put in words. Well, it already is in words. And all I would like to say is this hidden angle, but it was not so hidden, but it was just that nobody had explored it to that extent, was very, very precious.
Extremely precious. And you see, I was talking to one ek hai, Dadoshri. He's got his ashram somewhere between Pune and Mumbai.
Right.
In a forest. So I had gone to him and I was saying ki, why can't we go back to our roots in the Vedas? So he said something very nice. He said, not everybody is evolved enough to get back to the Vedas or to understand a lot of what you have studied and read and I have read are the same. That is why the conversation is so much easier, right? But he said we still have to preserve that wisdom.
Right.
Before it dies out altogether. It has all been said before. What quantum mechanics is saying today has been said for 10,000 years earlier. And we must now correlate. You see, the center point of a circle, all the radii converge. The spoke of a wheel, all the various branches of science converge and become one. In the Atharva Veds, there is a very nice shlok. The Rishi Shaunak said to the Rishi Angira, Lord, which is that science, having known which all else is known? That, replied Rishi Angira, is the science of Brahman. Having known that, all else is known. If you touch that center, there is no field of knowledge that you will not know intuitively. From within, because all knowledge is structured in consciousness. Richo akshare parme vyoman. It is all structured in consciousness, and that consciousness is everywhere. It is in you. Any knowledge that you want to seek, go within. Don't go out searching for that knowledge.
This is a very different message that the young audience of this show will receive, which I don't think they receive very often. So, I can't thank you enough for it.
Thank you so much for, we had a good conversation. And, the conversations are at many levels. There is a flippant conversation about the film stars and the latest Bollywood actress and her affair and her divorce more often than the affair. But then there is a conversation at depth. So in the Vedas, this is mentioned. This is mentioned in the Upanishads. That once you read a particular thing, then you reflect on it.
Right.
Then you discuss it. That is depth conversation.
Yes.
That is not flippant
Correct,
conversation.
correct.
What we just had was a conversation in fair depth.
It was one of a kind. I haven't had any of these. I haven't had these on my show. And I don't think the audience is going to see this coming, which is all for the better. All for the better. Can't thank you enough, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for
so
everything.
much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you not only for your service, thank you for the 48 books, thank you for the ones that you will write, thank you for your booming voice, thank you for your knowledge, and just thank you for being you.
thank you.
Thank